Howdy folks, Nathan here, and this is the 2025 Chevrolet Equinox, which is going on sale pretty much right now. And we're in Minneapolis, Minnesota, near Minnehaha Falls. I've always wanted to say that on camera because I just never have, so there it is. Okay, let's concentrate on the vehicle. This is not completely all new, but mostly new for 2025. As a 2025 model, I should say, because it's going on sale soon. So, what's different? Well, you're looking at it, mostly the skin. They've managed to extend the wheelbase 0.2 inches. I think that's mostly suspension, but for the most part, you have the same platform as before, same hard points, but they went and changed an awful lot of sheet metal, and they made it basically the baby brother of the Chevrolet Traverse. I think that was a really good idea because the Equinox has a weird identity. For those of you who don't know, if you've been living under a rock, there's an electric version of this. Completely different vehicle. The only thing they share is like a name badge. I mean, not even the interior components. It's basically completely different vehicles. And I think because of that, and because Chevrolet has an issue with finding original names, people are getting really confused about the Equinox. And that's a weird thing because this is one of their biggest sellers. They sold about half as many of these as the Toyota RAV4 last year, but the RAV4 is one of the top selling vehicles in its class. I think the Tesla Model Y is now up there as well. And then there's the Honda CR-V, the Hyundai Tucson is also in that mix, and there's this. Yeah, they sold well over 200,000 of these things last year. So it's an important vehicle for them. So it's kind of weird that they kind of pushed it off to the side in terms of their naming, but that's a whole different story. Okay, so let's talk about the styling because you can really see it in the front. Have a look at what they did. They made things far more square, far more chiseled. They got rid of the slanted, kind of swoopy eyes, headlights, I would say, from the previous model. And they basically went all Chevy Traverse on this one. And what's interesting is that you're going to see lots of little tidbits, even though they don't share components, it certainly looks like they do up front. Now, there are 3 different trims, and I'm mentioning that because you can really tell from the front what those trims are. This is the RS, so this is sort of the road-inspired one, and it pretty much has to do with the wheels, which we'll cover in just a second. But this has a unique front grille. It's all blacked out and everything else to look street-like, I guess. And it also has much more stuff kind of hanging off it in the front and everything else. It looks like ground effects, but honestly, it's really not. Now, later on, you will be seeing in other videos the Active, and the Active is a little bit more off-roady, at least in terms of looks. And that one, which I think many people are going to be interested in because it does look like it's kind of cool, right? That one has a completely different front end. Then, the base model is the LT. The LT is the entry-level model, so to speak, and that one does have a different face as well. All right, let's look at the back real quick because I wanted to show you something else that's kind of interesting. One of my favorite cars that General Motors is building, Chevrolet is building, is the Trax. I love the fact that it is a high-value vehicle. Well, what's interesting is that the Trax is a cousin to this vehicle. It is one of the least expensive vehicles not only in its class, but it's also, I believe, the least expensive vehicle that Chevrolet currently sells. And then you can get one of these as a base model, one step up, larger vehicle, turbocharged engine. And look at the taillights. They definitely are very similar. So if you look at the Traverse and then you look at the Trax and then you look at this, they all look like they're related in the back. I actually kind of like that. It has its own identity, but at the same time, you can tell that it's related. No tailpipes. Nope. Even though it's the RS, nothing that's really sticking out of the back that looks cool. Not even fake ones. I guess I'm okay with that. I would rather have nothing than have fake ones like Audi and other automakers do. So that's, I guess, okay. Let's talk about power. Now, this vehicle does have a 1.5 liter turbocharged engine. And that's notable because it's been slightly massaged from the previous powertrain. Numbers are mostly the same as before or very similar, but there's something that you should know, and that is different transmissions. So first of all, let's talk about this Ecotec 4-cylinder, all aluminum, turbocharged 1.5 liter engine. This one puts out 175 horsepower. Not a lot. In this class, it's actually on the bottom end. Does make 203 pound-feet of torque. However, if you get the front-wheel drive model, that torque number drops to like 184 pound-feet of torque. Why is that significant? Why did they do that? I think it has to do with the fact that it is a continuously variable transmission. And a continuously variable transmission available only with the front-wheel drive vehicles, yes, you get far less torque. Honestly speaking, I think that's kind of a bummer, but whatever. So you can get this as a front-wheel drive. You can also get the active front-wheel drive, and of course the LT, meaning all three of those will have CVTs, continuously variable transmissions. But if you get it like this, which is all-wheel drive, standard 8-speed automatic transmission, and that's how all of them come. So as long as you get all-wheel drive, you're going to get the 8-speed, completely different transmission. All right, now let's talk about interior design. Have a look inside. I'm going to open the door for the camera guy. In the RS model, you have a lot of carryover trim that looks very similar to the other RS vehicles that are out there. They love using this red, kind of the plastic, slightly opaque, even see-through components here and there. That's pretty cool. I'm turning on the engine because we are sweltering in the heat right now. It is not cold. All right, now let's talk about what we're looking at here. This is an 11-inch screen. That is standard across all three vehicles, all three trims, I should say. And this is an 11.3-inch screen. Once again, standard. So if you've seen recent videos featuring General Motors products, you're going to see this very similar type of bezel where they incorporate two screens in there. They did it here as well. And they could have had different screen sizes. There's definitely enough room for it, but they basically were like, look, this is what we think is good for this car. Now, there are a couple things you should know right away. A lot of options available for it, as long as they're not Super Cruise. No Super Cruise available, which is a little strange. I thought they were going to do it across the board, but the way they put it is, hey, there aren't going to be that many people who want to pay the upcharge for Super Cruise. But you can get that, and that is a massive, I mean, that is really big, sunroof. And that is available on, I believe, all three trims, optional on the LT. You know what else is interesting is that both vehicles, the higher end one, so this, the RS and the Active, they have the option for multicolor roofs. So you can either get body color roofing, or in this case, the RS, black one, so you get the black roof, or with the Active, you get the white roof. And that also includes the caps and the mirrors. So in this case, you've got black caps matching the roof, but you can get body color caps. And I don't think you can mix them up and try to be a smart aleck and go, well, I only want one cap red and the other cap, black. It's not going to work like that. Okay, so let me turn down the air a little bit here. I don't want it to interfere with the microphone. It's RS, once again, top of the line model. And this interior has a couple things that make it unique. That's including this red stitching running all the way across. It's also on the seats, and it's right here on the armrest, right? And then if you look at the seats, this is all unique. This is like Fake X or Fast X or Blue Dex or whatever, a million different names for fake leather. But personally speaking, I do prefer it over real leather. I find it to be far more comfortable. And there's definitely something to be said about the overall feel of the materials. This is a much nicer place to be than the previous model in terms of visual. I can't talk about driving impressions and whether or not it's nicer to drive or anything like that, but I can tell you, at least in terms of the display and everything else and the way they set it up, definitely a little bit more logical. Let me show you the back seat. There's something that I wanted to show you there as well. I'm 6'1", although my osteo is starting to kick in, so I'm probably just under that now. I'm kidding, not really. But I set behind myself. I can do both. I can sit and fit behind myself with a lot of extra legroom. And I love having these. Not every vehicle in this class has this. Rear vents. All right, center armrest, cup holders, and that's about it. The good news is I have a pretty tall torso, and headroom is actually quite good. And these seats are pretty comfortable, to be honest with you. If you like lumbar, they're really comfortable. If you don't like lumbar, you might be a little bit irritated because this little section right here feels a little stiffer right there, but I think most people will be fine with it. I don't think these things do anything. These seats do not recline or do anything like that. I'm gonna show you the trunk real quick because it's something you should see. I hope you're sitting down. I know when you saw the Equinox, you're like, oh, I must know everything about it because it's exciting. Actually, it's more exciting than it used to be, I can tell you that. But at least they tried. All right, oh, there it is, extra storage. But you know what the best part is? Not everybody does this. That, my friends, is a proper donut. Having a spare tire really is a nice peace of mind. I have had flat tires in vehicles that haven't had spare tires, and it is really irritating because not all flat repair kits work. We're gonna wrap it up. All right, so the LT, now this is the good news. The LT, now bear in mind, yes, front wheel drive with a CVT, and I have not driven it yet, but it is an in-house built CVT. Same with that 8-speed, by the way. $29,995 entry price. And that comes standard with a lot of goodies, including a whole bunch of their safety upgrades. So they are competitive, very competitive in terms of pricing. Then if you get the all-wheel drive version, that goes to $31,995. So that's not a major premium. The RS front-wheel drive starts at $34,395. Has almost everything you see here. The RS all-wheel drive, that's this, starts at $36,395. Here's the deal. If you want the active, same pricing as the RS. Starts at $34,395 for the front-wheel drive. And then the active, fully loaded, starting at all-wheel drive, starting at $36,395. So those prices are actually very competitive with Honda, with Toyota, with Hyundai. So, and Ford, by the way. Yes, so it is smart pricing on a vehicle that frankly has, as far as I can tell, all of the capability to keep up with the other ones without me revealing what its actual capability is. Let's quickly talk about EPA numbers. The front-wheel drive model gets 26 miles per gallon city, 28 miles per gallon highway, and a combined 27 mpg. The all-wheel drive, like this one, is rated at 24 city, 29 highway, and 26 combined. These are EPA estimates, so it's not official. That's one of the reasons why it's been out, so it's not on their website and everything else. So, this vehicle, affordable, economical, roomy. Can't talk about its performance yet, but I can tell you that it does have a turbocharged engine, 8-speed automatic transmission with all-wheel drive. By the way, more is coming with the Active because we're gonna drive the hell out of that and we're gonna be able to give you proper driving impressions, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, I don't know how Hiawatha would say, or Minnehaha, that was it. I'm sorry guys, I'm terrible at these names. I don't know how she would say goodbye, but I'm gonna say adios.